This morning, communities in Northwest Washington are bracing for more flooding. This comes less than 2 weeks after the region already saw rising waters. This time, everyone is much more prepared. Members of the National Guard and Border Patrol are in the region to help with sandbagging and road closures. Some towns expect washed-out roads in the morning, so they've been giving out supplies ahead of the storm.
And a lot of the same people that lost their house last week are trying to just get whatever they can to protect what they have left, which is probably the most heartbreaking thing.
A lady named Jennifer was dropping off hot meals to our house for a few days afterwards, which was a huge help when you're cleaning mud out all day.
Some cities are doing reverse 911 calls asking for voluntary evacuation in flood-prone areas, but most of those people have already left.
Now turning to the pandemic and an expensive and scary problem for a lot of people. Nearly 51,000 households have been approved for the Oregon Rental Assistance Program during the pandemic, but less than half have actually received the money. Officials don't know yet when they'll get through the backlog. Art Edwards shares the impact for families.
Any sources of income I had at that point just completely went away. And at the same time, here I am left with 3 kids that I need to take care of.
When the pandemic hit, Musonda Mwango found himself in a tough spot. When he found out Oregon got $289 million in federal funding to help people pay their rent, he thought that there was some hope.
I mean, for most of us that had kind of basically lost just about everything, any source of income that was there, it became one of those things where like, man, thank you, God, we get a lifeline here.
Accessing the lifeline has not been easy. Mwango said that it was challenging to fill out the application for the Oregon Emergency Rental Assistance Program. He filled out his application in June and was approved in August. He still hasn't received any funds, and he doesn't know when they'll arrive.
This is an emergency. This is not a practice. This is real lives getting torn apart.
So far, more than 22,000 applications have been approved, and nearly $150 million has reached renters. The state is pausing the program for 6 weeks, starting December 1st. Officials hope that will give them the chance to work through the backlog and get renters like Mwango the money they've been promised.
The uncertainty of everything is just like, it's staring you in the face every waking moment.
He met with Governor Brown last week and hopes lawmakers will convene a special session to look for new ways to help renters struggling with financial hardships because of the pandemic. Art Edwards, KGW News.
And we do want to remind you, if you've fallen behind on your rent, you can apply for emergency funds by the end of Tuesday. That's before midnight on Tuesday. If you fall behind after December 1st, you should apply for local emergency rental programs like the ones in Multnomah, Washington, and Clackamas counties.
The pandemic doesn't look to be going away. The U.S. State Department has issued a do not travel warning to 8 Southern African countries because of that newly discovered coronavirus variant. The Omicron variant has been detected in several European countries too, but not in the U.S. Omicron is labeled as a variant of concern because it has a large number of mutations and may spread more easily. But we don't know yet if it makes people more sick or if current vaccines work against it. Oregon schools have a new way to keep kids from missing class because of the COVID quarantines. Galen Atlin looks at a new program that comes as Oregon COVID cases continue trending downward.
Students getting off the bus each day face new challenges.
Everyone had hoped that this year was going to be more normal, and of course it's not normal.
That's Reed Scott Schwalbach, president of the Oregon Education Association, speaking on behalf of teachers to lawmakers last week. She says students missing class for COVID quarantine is just one of the problems right now.
The second grade teacher in Medford told me that she was seeing behaviors that she thought were much more in line with a kindergarten classroom.
So the state has a new program.
Will greatly reduce the number of students who miss school due to quarantines.
Oregon Department of Education Director Colt Gill is talking about the new Test to Stay protocol. It allows students exposed to COVID at school with masks to stay in class if they continue to test negative during the week.
Create the stability that we know that our students need.
Most Oregon school districts are already part of the state's COVID testing program, and this would expand on that. But supply chain issues are on the radar.
We've heard from our federal partners and from manufacturers that the supply will be stable and will remain adequate. However, A nationwide COVID-19 surge could impact this supply.
About 30 states are seeing COVID numbers go up right now, which could put a strain on testing supply. For now, Oregon's in a better spot with the 4th lowest case numbers nationwide. But Oregon Health Authority is cautious.
We worry that that could happen in Oregon.
A challenge for schools to test students is how short-staffed they are.
Has left educators exhausted to a point that we have not seen before.
We really do think this will be a turnaround for our students and families and educators.
The state acknowledges this test-to-stay program is another job for educators and urges parents to help by volunteering at schools and vaccinating their children over 5.
If we see very high rates of student vaccination in the future, at some point we may no longer need this protocol.
Good morning. Good morning.
Making that day off the bus a little easier. Galen Etlin, KGW News.
Well, this morning, another person is recovering from Portland's gun violence. The latest incident was near MLK and Fremont. Officers were called there around 4:30 yesterday afternoon. They arrived to find the victim alive and talking with emergency crews. That person was taken to the hospital. A suspect left the scene before officers arrived, and they've not been located at this time. Police aren't saying anything else about this right now, but if you know anything, you're asked to contact Portland Police.
You may have already seen this weekend. Get ready for more expensive Christmas trees no matter what type you buy. The higher prices come from a perfect storm of increased demand, lower supply, and delays in delivery. Supply is being impacted from weather issues last winter and this past summer. Trees suffered ice, then drought, and June's heat wave. So for you, that means you could pay about 10 to 30% more for live trees, and you have less options to choose from.
Sometimes folks are looking for really large trees and we only have a few of them, and we'd like to have more, but that's what's available at the time.
Artificial trees are also more expensive this year because of supply chain issues. There aren't enough truck drivers to deliver them to stores. And speaking of Christmas, have you started your shopping yet? There are lots of local places you can shop to avoid the supply chain shortages, but what about the parking? Our traffic guru Chris McGinnis looks at one of the worst time of the year in parking lots around the area.